Hey everybody, Rose Matter here, and welcome to my reaction and discussion for episodes 3 and 4 of Serial Experiments Lain. So, my impressions of the show so far, it's definitely very different from what I have watched before. It's definitely a more quiet, slow show. I imagine maybe it'll pick up and I'll be able to understand what's going on. I have to be honest, I feel like I'm playing catch up with this. Like the show is trying to tell me things and maybe I'm just not smart enough to get it. The general idea is about like the computer, the internet's a girl named Lain who seems to be pretty like introverted and doesn't really have a lot of friends. She is very quiet and her whole life it just feels like she's kind of like on the outside looking in, and that's how I feel kind of like as a viewer. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but she almost feels like she's just not really existing in life. She's just kind of there, but like, I don't know. It's just like, it feels like I can't really connect with the character, and maybe that's the point, but it's just like I don't know too much about her. But it's like a classmate of hers or a student in her school committed suicide wanting to go to a place called The Wired, which I am assuming is like their version of the internet, where there's like avatars and it's like a whole other world. And it says this is wholly about connections, about like you'll be connected to the wired. So maybe that's the thing is like Lain doesn't feel connected to this world, but she wants to go to the wired. She is getting messages from her dead classmates to come to the wired, and she seems intrigued by it. And then there's also like another version of Lain that people have seen who's very different from her. And the last episode ended with her going to a club called, I think it was called like Siberia, with a couple of her classmates, her friends, I guess. There was one girl who seemed to be more friendly, but um, yeah, there was just this guy who was like shooting at people at the club and then saw Lain, and then she said something like I can't even remember, but implying that it's a different version of Lain. So I guess it's a whole thing about like the internet's avatars were different on the internet than in our real life. There's different versions of us. Is that what this is? Once again, it feels very like symbolic and philosophical, and I'm like, am I smart enough to watch this show? I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna get back into it. Hopefully it will clear up a little bit more and I'll be able to kind of like figure out what's going on with this. So let's get into it. Let's watch these episodes and I'll give you guys my thoughts afterwards. Okay, I was right, it is Siberia. So this is right after the events of the last episode. It's nice to have like continuation, direct continuation. Lain of the Wired. Okay, so right off we're talking about like a different Lain and people know about her. So there's like a version of her that people know about, and she has quite the reputation apparently. Her family is just never around, apparently. And then there's her one friend. She's a real one. She's a real one. She seems to be the only one that really seems to care about Lain. It's almost like she's. I can't even tell if she's traumatized by it or if that's just her. Arisu. That's. The other friends just seem like they're more annoyed by Lain than anything else. But like I said, I can kind of understand why people don't really connect with Lain because it feels like she does kind of just put up a wall and there's not much there to like attach to, which is very different. Oh, has she like forgotten who Arisu is? But yeah, like I like a lot of these shows where the characters, the main characters, are at least like charismatic or like I feel like I connect to them pretty quickly. With her, I just can't right now. And I think that's the point. Once again, it's just the quiet spaces. That's she loves her bears, doesn't she? Just very quiet, like uncomfortable. It's too quiet, it's too clean. It's not comfortable at all. There's no warmth. It's like it's late at night. Where is her whole family? Like, oh, interesting. Her parents sleep in separate beds. Is that a thing? Like, there was that weird moment too in like the last episode where like they were just kind of her parents were just kind of kissing, but it almost seemed like it was just like a performative thing. Like there was nothing there. It's just so strange. It's like it's all dark, but the computer's there waiting for her. I mean, is this not all of us? We get home and we just want to go right to our computer. It's pretty accurate, actually. Everybody's just still gone. And like nobody leaves a note of like where they are. It's very creepy. The only person she has to talk to is her computer. This is random, but I also heard that there is a like I think like a PlayStation 1 game of this, and I'm just like, what would that game be? Like, what would you do in it? I know it's so bright. It went from so dark to so bright, yet still just like barely any color. So no mention about she's not going to tell her family. Okay, about like I saw a shooting last night. And like where were you? I don't know if it's just because like she doesn't want to tell her mom that she was at a club or she just doesn't feel like she should bother telling her about it, but is that guy going to be there again? Oh, car. I wonder if they're keeping a track. They're keeping an eye out for the wired lane. That's why they're so interested in her. It must be. Oh my gosh. It's like, oh, her eyes. That's so creepy. I was just thinking about, like, they were talking about the cute guy. Were they talking about the guy who, like, got shot? Or the guy who was the shooter? Oh, the psych as a processor. Okay. And there's that, just that creepy, like, everything is just dulled out. People don't even look like people in this world. That's creepy as hell. Are they affected by it too? I know sometimes in, like, traumatizing experiences, you can just kind of, like, decom. I always forget the word. Like, you can basically, like, shove it aside and just, like, pretend that it was, like, not quite real. I'm trying to remember if that's so creepy. Please don't stare directly at the camera, Lane. God, those eyes. I'm trying to think if, like, um the other Lane, if she has those same kind of eyes, or they have a little bit more life to them. Okay, what is this? Oh yeah, that's right. There was that drug too. Excella? Okay, we're getting some information here. Is that chip, is that the thing that Lane got? Maybe it'd be like, come find the knights? Because they know who she is. In The Wire, there's a lot of urban legends. Okay. What is going on right now? What the hell? It's like a black market for information or something? Oh my gosh, her family talks to her. Except her dad only seems to be concerned about the computer. She still hasn't mentioned the shooting to her parents. Seems she's slightly closer to her dad, maybe. Her dad actually has conversations with her. Just as I say that, just like, he's like, bye. You think he'd be more interested? She's gonna be like, never mind. No. Oh, weird reaction. You think, like, technology, he'd be all about, like, oh, let me take a look at that, but no. Oh, look, the world actually looks normal? So in the morning, it looks all weird like that. Maybe that's just from her perspective. Okay, so she's going back to Siberia. You think they'd be closed after what happened, but apparently not. Also, pretty wild that, like, what is she, in 8th grade, that she can go into the club? Okay, so, oh. Alright, so they know her. So does she only exist in Siberia? That's the only place people have seen her? And apparently she does the planning for the club. Okay. I guess Siberia's like, but other though they looked very, holy cow, they look very young. So like actual people can go here and yet this other lane exists here. I could get full access with even this. That looks like a gun. What the heck is that? Well, it looks like we're getting maybe a little bit more information now about all of this. Let's get into this a little bit more. Okay, so I think it is like a representative of like people on the internet are different than they are in real life. I want to see more of the Wild Lane too. We only saw glimpses of it, and she's just so ooh, that was a look. I love how she just finds out all this information and just is like, oh, okay. Oh my gosh. How inconspicuous. Oh my god, I love that, like, futuristic, but not futuristic at all looking. What the 90s considers futuristic. Right? You don't want to wear too many clothes when you're doing that, right? Static electricity. I don't know anything about computers. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you should do it with minimal clothes, but. Whoa. Okay, that was. Wait, what? What was that? Okay, huh. That was weird. I'm still trying to process what happened at the end. Was that like the other Lane kind of sneaking in through into the real world? Did her sister actually see that? Like, what was that? That was so strange. And then she just gets deeper and deeper. She's like PC Master Race, like she's fully into it. I admire people who can like do this stuff with computers. I have someone who does that for me. Um, I can't make heads or tails of it. Apparently, it can be easy. I don't know about like those 90s computers, how they compare to these ones these days, but wish I'd gotten into that when I was younger because now it feels like good luck trying to figure this stuff out later. Like the way they just talk to each other feels so alien. It's like they're all just aliens in human skin trying to convince people that they're human. Well, Mika's the closest one to being like somewhat normal. Especially the mom just kind of sitting there, just staring off into space. It's just they're so weird. Whenever they do that like shiny anime, like what is this? What are these interactions? They're so what the fuck? They're so weird. Is that other Lain? We're actually having some sort of action, a tense scene right now. What the? Okay, that's not Lain at all. That's a creepy little girl. What is going on right now? What is happening? I was like, I have to assume that something is causing him not be able to get in. Oh, that's creepy. Or he's really terrible at handling his keys. Oh, creepy. Okay, so now we have creepy girls killing people randomly. Okay. Was that person someone who worked at the school? Or people wanting to go to the Wired, I'm guessing? Oh my gosh, she's got some. It's like that her personality is changing and there's more. I don't know, there was more life to her there. Yeah, she's just kind of. It's like her personalities are kind of merging from like her one in the Wire to this one. Yeah, she speaks like a person now. She emotes. It's funny, you think it'd be like the opposite. It's like if you're getting deeper and deeper into like the Wired, the internet, another world, that you'd be more closed off. She's like getting more, I don't know, personable. I mean, they didn't. Feels like they didn't treat her like friends all the time, except for Arisu. Uh oh. Nothing better happened to Arisu. She's like the one person who, like, I don't know, I like in this show. Why did her why did her voice sound so familiar to somebody else? Was it like a another show I watched? A game I played? Eh. Oh my goodness, wow. And then yeah, the eyes at the reflection back, right, with the screen, it just like she's getting more and more into the Wired. I mean, that's how all of us look, I'm sure, a lot of the time. This is me installing mods on Skyrim. Like, it's not working. Let's try something else. I got something working, but then something else broke. Okay. That's the extent of it, is just like putting mods in games. Where it's just like, I will go down that rabbit hole. Sims, are you kidding me? Like, hours. That's the extent of my knowledge. Okay, so we got some more stuff. We're learning about these things, about the knights, this game that are causing people to kill themselves. I wonder if maybe if her friends come over and look at the Navi, will they like eventually get into this and will they kill themselves? That would be something interesting to happen. All right, so these are people playing the game and then it causes them to kill themselves. That looks like Lain, doesn't it? Yep. So she's the one potentially causing people to kill themselves? What? Okay, what's going on here? I love that this is the game. It's just like it just looks like Minecraft or something. Maybe that's a bad thing. There's like games from the 90s and like maybe even like the late 80s where they were kind of like they look like kind of old school Persona games, or like those games where you just had to go down like the different like just these really tight corridors. Are you a PK2? I that's what I'm wondering. What's going on? That's what I'm saying a lot of the times in this show. I don't know what's going on 95% of the time. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Oh, is okay. He's dead. That's his body wrapped in that sheet. That's is that the huh? Oh no, that's the girl. Oh, did he kill? Like what? What's going on? So he like killed a girl he thought in a game that he was playing. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. What is happening? Just when I think I'm starting to grasp a little bit of it, they throw something else at me, and I'm just like, I don't. Those are all dead people. What the? What is happening? I don't understand. So is this another Lane? So there was the one that was like dressed all kind of like adult like. There's this one in a game. So he killed a little girl by accident, thinking that it was... Okay, Phantoma, dedicate client. That's kind of like an MMO. That's it, a dungeon style. There's games like that. Wasn't there like... I'm trying to think of games that were like that back then. I've never played games like this before. This just looks like... That looks like those really cheap horror games that you'd see on Steam. Where it's just like, you're just going down this thing and all of a sudden there's just jump scares. Okay, so there's the mention of the knights again. Does the dad have something to do with this at all? Is he saying, like, don't get too sucked into it? Okay. Oh, well. Doesn't that feel like the things our parents used to tell us when we'd get a computer? And basically, like, don't get too deep into it. Don't forget about the real world, too. That's creepy. That's creepy. What's with the anime glasses all the time? It makes him look like he's a villain. I think everybody's wondering that. I'm liking this new Lain though. It's just like I feel like there's some life to her. All right. I still like I don't know who these people are. They just people in the wire that are saying this stuff? These are like her mail, her emails? I got the general gist of it, but I'm still very confused. There's a thing too that the student who first killed herself says something about like God is here. Like it's like a beast just taking over her room. It's just like infecting her room. Oh. Oh. Are they telling her to like come outside or like we're watching you? I'm guessing those are probably the knights. I can't take them seriously. Something like a sniper being like we're gonna take you out, or watching her because I don't know, they fear what the wired Lain could do. Oh. Whoa, okay. Interesting. She is becoming the internet. That was pretty cool. Maybe they're trying to stop her. They know that how powerful she can be, and if she continues on like this, she'll be able to maybe have more lead more people to their death. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to say that after every episode. All right, so have those episodes cleared anything up for me? Yes and no. I feel like I'm starting to understand some things a little bit, but then they're just throwing new things at me. This game, Phantomia, I believe it's called, that are causing people to commit suicide. The Knights, which apparently are spreading throughout the Wired as like a new religion. Those guys that are outside of Lane's house all the time, like what are they trying? Are they trying to stop her? They seem like they're monitoring her and trying to stop her from doing something. And then Lain herself is changing as well ever since the moment in Siberia. So learning that there's quite a few people around, it seems to be like in Siberia specifically, that know about this other Lain, this psyche thing, psych, whatever. I believe it's psyche, this little thing that she can attach to the computer. And like, who gave that to her? Was it the Knights that gave it to her because they want her to, I don't know, do something? I don't know. I just like, it feels like she is kind of like almost like a god in this world, or she's well known enough that people like respect her or fear her. But it's just like, so like, what does she do in the Wired? What is her purpose? Is she the one that's causing these people to kill themselves? It seems like she is almost like a ghost that's haunting people. And then there's that little girl, ghost. I don't know if it's a ghost, but like this creepy little girl. It's like, what's her deal as well? There was so much going on. It's still so strange. I do like like you are seeing the progression of Lane's personality. It's almost like her Wired personality is kind of merging with her real self, and that was like her dad said at the end, like, don't mix it up with the real world. And then she said, like, I'm still me, but is she really? And then like there was one point where it kept saying, like, who is Lain? Who is Lain? So maybe that's it. Like, she won't even know who she is anymore. It's like, which one is the real her? So still quite confused about quite a bit of stuff. But I'm intrigued. You know what? I talked about how I didn't know how I felt about this show, but like after I watched the first two episodes last week, like I just kept thinking about this show. So it was kind of like a slow burn. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like I would just be thinking about it randomly. So it's kind of like wormed its way into my head. And I'm sure the same is going to be with these ones. And I'm just trying to like, I'll just be thinking about it randomly, just, in real life, and just like, what's going on? And then just trying to figure things out. So I am intrigued. It is still slow, still quite slow. I'm used to so many of the shows that I watch to either have like action scenes or to at least have characters I can attach to and kind of make some sense about what's going on. With this one, it's just like, it's just going over my head, but it's still intriguing all the same. I do kind of like the general thing about like the internets, the different personalities we have, how it's kind of taking over. Um, who is the real us? Like our internet self versus our real life self. All those things I like. I do like what they are getting into with this, especially like I love seeing it from the 90s perspective, and it's not too far off, I feel like, from more like modern times. So like, how are you guys, for those of you who maybe be watching this for the first time since it came out, or if you watched it a long time ago, like how do you feel it holds up from when it came out all that time ago? I'd like to get your thoughts about that. But yeah, I'm like intrigued. I'm gonna say intrigued because I am, but I still don't know what's going on a lot of the time, and I hope I will be getting some more answers about like what's going on with the Wired, what's going on with Lain, who are those guys, who are the Knights, what's happening in general. So that is my thoughts. Let me know if I left anything out down below, as long as it doesn't spoil anything. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction and discussion for it, and stay tuned next week for episodes 5 and 6. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Emily Hornsby, Lady of Eternity, Revealing Storm, Asborn Kennedy, Jared Fan, Harry Gazif, Icognito, and Zoran Ether.